Kia ora, ko Careene Andrews aho, ko Whakatōhea, ko Ngāti Raukawa, ko Ngāti Kahungunu ngā iwi. I'm Careene Andrews. I am the sister of Mari Andrews. I joined Kāhui Tautoko in 2008 as the business manager originally, but after a few years I did become a consultant. And then in 2015, I got the opportunity to move to Canada to support Mara with a national contract. So I came over in 2015 as a consultant. And we realized fairly early on that Mara was required to be in multiple offices. So I also evolved into a co-director to do all those things when she was away. I am a mum of 6 and a grandma of 4, nearly 5. Yeah, in relation, I guess, to projects, having been here for 17 years, it's really hard to, I guess, point out one project. I kind of feel like all of them are important. All of them are important to whānau and community members. But if I picked one from Aotearoa, New Zealand, would have to be the whānau water strategy. And I would like to acknowledge and pay homage to, everybody behind the scenes who, I guess, brought whānau water to the forefront, the whānau water task force way back. I believe there were 25 whānau water collectives set up at that time, and I feel like we worked with maybe half of them. So right from Hawke's Bay right down to Araitiuru, down in Invercargill. Yeah, so there was a lot of, we kind of supported in varying capacities. Sometimes it was in action research, where we were just walking alongside trying to document the stories, but also walking alongside whānau and the collectives so that they could, I guess, create, they were called program of actions at the time. They kind of had this pathway that they had to follow. So it was kind of like, what does the current state look like? What does the future state look like? And how do we get there through these program of actions? So we were really, humbled and fortunate to walk alongside a lot of the whānau water collectives. It'd be hard for me to single them all out since there were so many. But just phenomenal people with whānau at the heart of their strategy, of their decision making. And we get that lovely job of sitting there writing and listening, and sometimes you have to kind of keep your mouth quiet because you want to say some stuff because they have some really good stuff to share, and some of them are sad stories that can get better, and just been really grateful to help that journey. So, and I do go back to Aotearoa and New Zealand, often, and I see these collectives thriving because I've been away for so long, and they've kind of fully implemented this plan that we had done so many years ago. So that's really, really cool to witness. In terms of a Canada project, again, I don't want any disrespect to any of the projects that we're so grateful to work on. But one of the first ones was working with the Assembly of First Nations and Health Canada to review, it's called the Health Benefits or Non-Insured Health Benefits Program, which is a federal kind of program to access healthcare in various kind of topics. But what it required us to do was to engage with as many First Nations that we could in 18 months. And so I think there's roughly 430 First Nations across Canada, excluding BC, because that program had been devolved into the new First Nations Health Authority. So we just did from Alberta right across to Nova Scotia and up to the Yukon and to the Northwest Territories, and really, really humbling experience. I honestly feel like our first day when we visited these communities was just talking about sharing knowledge and sharing culture, and they wanted to know about us and we wanted to know about them. But what it did also highlight was, some of these communities are in very remote places. So when you were traveling to these places, you were also thinking about, gosh, if you had to access healthcare urgently, is this the process that you have to follow? You have to go through, travel on ice or travel in canoes to get to the helipad. And so it gave us a real reality of healthcare access challenges, which I don't think you can read in a book. You have to first-hand experience that to understand that. So in that regard, it was really good and so hospitable. I think 50% of the time we stayed with the locals and ate their beautiful food, and just felt like we were home, felt like we were part of whānau as we do back in New Zealand. It highlighted the similarities in our hospitable nature. But it also taught us, we're visitors in Canada, so we really had to try and be respectful and mindful of that. We weren't there to impose anything. We were just there to share teaching, share culture, but to understand their protocols. So that was really enlightening, like just being able to understand their ceremonies and similar to respecting the cultures back home. But one of the ultimate benefits of that project is we had beautiful decision makers around the table that once they got our reports and our findings from, these 9 provinces and what was it, 295 communities we visited out of the 400, we were able to produce some findings, and I kid you not, the Assembly of First Nations and Health Canada went, we can do that, sign it off. We can do that, sign it off. So the voices led these changes, and we were just so humbled to be able to be the writers of that information. So, but yeah, again, no disrespect to any of the projects that we get to walk alongside too. Yeah, my time at Kāhui, I guess I'm a little bit different because Mara and I are sisters, and we've obviously tried to do our very best to create a whānau culture across Kāhui Tautoko. So we don't try and have any hierarchical structures or anything like that, and that's what I love. I love that we all work hard, we all try to be respectful, we try and follow the ways of being for whoever we're engaging with. I mean, the biggest, I guess, part for me is they're not clients, they're more than clients, they're like whānau. If you take that time to listen and build that relationship, and so that you get to that grounded level of speaking freely and frankly, so that we can truly help with what they're looking to achieve. So that for me has been really, really rewarding, and being able to finally give back. My background has been more in a corporate type environment, so to move to giving back to the community has been such a humbling experience to be with Kāhui Tautoko. I also am the younger sister of Mara, and I couldn't have asked for a better sister. I really, I'm probably going to tear up, but she looked after me since I was really, really young. So it was really, really nice to be able to help her in this stream of helping our people and helping other Indigenous communities. And so I was it was a no-brainer for me. It was no-brainer to be able to, support my sister with developing Kāhui Tautoko and just helping communities and whānau. And, sometimes you do have to take that moment to reflect and go, did we do okay? Did we do a good job? Did we help them with what they may be experiencing? So, yeah, I feel like we've built a culture of we are a whānau business and we don't want to sway away from that. We don't like having hierarchical structures. We want everybody to be open, have fun, work hard, do good work. So it's a really kind of a good balance that we know we have to work hard, but at the same time, we also need to look after each other. So I hope that's the culture that we've tried to create. The other piece that I love about working at Kāhui Tautoko is a never quiet day. Like you could be doing, I don't know, filing systems 1 minute and then the next minute you're doing a feasibility study or a capital planning project for a whole new big health centre. And so it's so diverse. I love that. I think if I do work that's the same thing every day, 8 hours a day, I think I'd get bored pretty quickly. So this mahi is really, really diverse. You could be doing absolutely everything. And like many clients may say that, we may help them at the same time. They're filling our basket of knowledge as well at the same time. So love that. Yeah. And in terms of, I guess, the legacy, and I don't know whether I should be saying this or not, but our late nanny said, I need you to go out and help our people. That's where our name Kāhui Tautoko came from, and make them stronger and build their capacity and so that they can lead their ways. And so ultimately, we probably don't want to be here in 25 years because we've done our job. We've built capacity of Indigenous communities that they don't need us anymore. So I don't know if that's the right answer to say in terms of the next 25 years. Maybe in the short term, we just need to keep doing good mahi, good quality work that is grounded, is not like a corporate paper, just good stuff that makes a difference in the short term. So, okay, so in relation to working in Canada, it was I guess, a big transition. So in Aotearoa, New Zealand, we have 25 tribes, one language, pretty simplistic health system. And we come to Canada and they have 650 tribes, 200 languages, and a federal and a provincial health system. So it was definitely a new environment, new learning, and it was like, golly gosh, how are we going to get to reach to everybody like we did in Aotearoa when they have such a diverse country. So I guess the Indigenous population is typically made up of First Nations, the First Peoples of Canada, Inuit. So Inuit being like a northern, primarily based in Northwest Territories or upper northern Canada, and then they have Métis, which I think we would term similar to a half caste. So they have that kind of primary group that work with. So we are based in what we would call Coast Salish territories. Our office is based in Coast Salish territories, which is it actually goes down into America. So we actually try and pay homage more to their territories rather than I guess, what they're known as today as Vancouver. So we're based in Coast Salish. So a lot of our work is in Coast Salish areas and with the communities in British Columbia, which is one of their provinces. In New Zealand, we have a North Island and a South Island, and Chatham's and Stewart Island. They have so many provinces. So we kind of just worked our way through and tried to build trust with communities on how we could help each other, and worked with health authorities, similar to DHBs in New Zealand, worked with ministries and ministers. So they recently introduced a Minister of Indigenous Reconciliation and Relationships, as well as a Minister of Health. But yes, but we also had to build relationships with the federal system, which is based on the other side of Canada. So it was quite complex, and we knew we had to do the mahi. We had to learn all of these things before we could even help anybody. So it was a big learning curve, and initially when we came here, and I think for the first year we didn't have much mahi at all, because it was like, who are these Kiwis? Who are these Māori people from New Zealand that have come here? But once we were able to kind of work with a few communities, they're the ones who ended up referring us to others. So that's a really, I think about 5 years ago, we did a review of all our community clients, and it was something like 97% of our projects were repeat. And so, you know, when people ask about, you know, have you surveyed and stuff, it's like, well, we don't feel we have to survey, because the best recommendation we can get is from the clients and the communities themselves. We're very, very fortunate to have Te Tinia Māui Kapahaka Group. We knew that when we were working in these communities that they would have cultural protocols, and I guess similar to pōhiri and things like that. So we wanted to also be able to, as Kāhui Tautoko, be able to respond in a similar fashion. And their singing and their drumming and their ceremonies are just phenomenal, and it made me realize that we actually share a lot. We love to sing, we love to dance, we love to eat, we love to do all those good whānau things. So it was really important for us to have a little rōpū here in Vancouver to do kapahaka. And I have to be honest, I hadn't done kapahaka since school. So to have this beautiful whānau, and because, you know, I'm such a long way from home personally, to have this whānau here as part of our kapahaka group, it kind of felt like a little bit like home, so that I didn't get as homesick as I thought I would. So yes, and over the years, we have been so lucky to have beautiful mentors, and oh gosh, I'm going to forget. We've had Mania Maniapoto, we've had Kane Kirihoma, we've had Patrick Hape. I'm going to forget someone, but I don't know how it seemed to work out, but we always had somebody that could do our kapahaka brackets and teach us what we were singing about, and our waiata, and the stories that we were trying to share, and making them relevant. And yeah, so we kind of hired a dance studio, and every month we would have kapahaka practice, or we would come together more often and go to the park and do kapahaka. And so it really felt like we were home, but not home.